And good morning everyone, and welcome to another one of my trip reports. Today it's going to be something special because we are going to go across to the Sydney domestic terminal here to fly this Boeing 717 of Qantas from Sydney to Canberra, and then we're going to take a return trip on the same day from Canberra back to Sydney. So I'm going to spend a few hours on a Joyride with the 717, which is an increasingly rare aircraft in the world today because there are only a handful of carriers that are flying this particular aircraft type. You've got Hawaiian Airlines and Delta Airlines in America, and Volotea in Europe have recently retired this particular aircraft type. So, you know, this is a very rare aircraft. I'm not sure where else in the world can you find this. The last time I flew on such an airframe was with Northwest Airlines in 2001. I flew them between Minneapolis to Detroit to Chicago and then back. I did a few runs with that as well. This was so long ago, and that was my last experience with this. And so today we're going on the 717, which is essentially the same frame, but underneath the skin it's really an entirely different aircraft. So can't wait. Let's go. I'm heading there in economy class and returning to Sydney in business. So let's do this.
The hotel is located across the road from the airport, and a brisk 10-minute walk will take you to the Qantas terminal. This being a Monday morning at 6:45 a.m, it used to be heaving with business travellers rushing for the first bank of departing flights. These days, the experience is a lot more subdued with reduced flights. Domestic capacity is supposed to be at 80% compared to pre-COVID. Now all we need is for international flights to get reinstated. Canberra was covered in fog this morning as announcements were made about delays for all flights heading that way. Anyway, here's our ride, operated by National Jet Systems for Qantas Link. At the time of this report, it was slightly over 21 years old. Despite the delay announcements, we were called aboard on time, which was a good thing, because the last thing I needed was for this experience to be jinxed. This aircraft previously flew with Impulse Airlines, which was later acquired by Qantas. National Jet Systems have now been contracted by Qantas Link to operate the fleet of 20 717s. There are 3 rows of business class, which I will be in on my return flight, followed by 98 economy seats. Economy class has a seat pitch of 31 inches and a seat width of 18 inches. As I've mentioned earlier, the seat pitch of 31 inches is decent, but it felt a lot more cramped compared to modern aircraft because these old seat backs are thick. Adjustable headrests are thankfully there in case you pass out from claustrophobia. And these retro overheads come with air nozzles and a reading lamp. There is a tray table which can be moved back and forth. And a magazine storage beneath it. There are no more in-flight magazines for the foreseeable future, in accordance to Qantas's Flywell campaign. This is to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The flight distance between Sydney and Canberra is 147 miles or 236 kilometers, and the estimated flight time is 45 minutes. We soon taxied to our takeoff location, which was at the southern end of the airport. Since this flight time was only 45 minutes, it meant we've spent about half our flight on this very lengthy taxi. The 717 has been called many names, like Aero Penis, Pocket Rocket, Go-Kart in the air. Whatever it is, I'm sure it was to describe how powerful the takeoff is. We didn't just take off, we literally lifted off the ground. There are just no words to describe it. Engine noise suppression technology has come a long way since the days of DC-9. I must say, I chose this seat to be near the engines, and I was a little disappointed the cabin noise was no different to that of a 737. I remember my days of flying Northwest DC-9s. There was no way I could have had a conversation in this seat without raising my voice. Flight attendants wasted no time and went down the aisle, giving us our snacks. Most passengers on flights to Canberra are business travelers, so most didn't look up and had their faces buried in spreadsheets after spreadsheets in preparation for their meetings afterwards. Masks are now mandatory at airports and in planes, and the only time we can remove them is during mealtimes like now. While I was happily munching on banana bread, preparation for landing began in earnest. Canberra can actually be seen in the distance covered in fog. After arrival into Canberra, I had some time to kill before the return flight. So I thought heading to the Parliament House for a self-guided tour would be a great way to pass the time. Before long, I was back at the airport. Now, I've been to airports and I've been to airports, and airports in Australia tend to look rather functional. But my god, this isn't an airport. This is a museum of modern art. This beautiful airport was built in 2013, with the old and rather drab-looking terminal completely demolished. Singapore Airlines used to fly here on the way to Wellington in New Zealand, and that flight was dubbed the Capital Express. In 2019, Canberra Airport handled 3.2 million passengers, and this present terminal is designed to handle 8 million annually. Due to COVID-19, like the rest of the country, air traffic movements have reduced very significantly in Canberra, so only the business lounge has remained open. QANTAS Club, which has far better views out of the window, has been shut. This lounge, though small in size, is one of the better looking ones in the network. Pity about the view though. Since July 2020, the buffet has been replaced by staff assist. You order the food, which will be freshly plated for you. I like this new personalized service. There was no way I can make a plate of sloppy chicken curry sexy, but trust me when I say this got my approval. This is our ride back to Sydney. At the time of writing, it was just under 20 years old. After Qantas acquired this frame from Impulse Airlines, it went to Jetstar for a few years before wearing the present colours of Qantas Link. It was soon time to board from gate number 9. There was strangely no priority boarding call for business class and status flyers. It was just one general boarding call. Boarding was expeditious despite this being a full flight.
We meet again.
So on the way back?
Yeah, on the way
Did
back.
I see you this morning or something?
Yeah, you did.
Made it the day, did you?
Yeah.
Business class on the 717 is configured in 3 rows of 2 by 2. It features a seat pitch of 37 inches and a width of 20 inches. Not a bad place to be on a short flight. Together with footrests, there were also USB Type-A chargers and universal power sockets. More than what you need for such a flight. Seated in row 1, with the engines so far back, takeoff certainly felt very surreal because the engine noise was more of a soft hush rather than an urgent roar. Once airborne, I hardly heard the engines at all once slipstream took over. After living in Australia for 8 years, I should be used to Aussies ending their sentences with a question. So the flight attendant asked, "Would you like something to eat?" I said, "Yes, please." And he said, "We have chicken and mushroom pie." I waited for the next option, so I said, "And?" He replied, "Oh, that's it, chicken and mushroom pie." So that was what I had. I suspect this must be an enjoyable flight to operate for the cabin crew. No one ever asks for anything, and everyone else seemed to have their faces plastered to a laptop, tablet, or stacks of papers. I was the only one eating. We approached the airport from the south, and being seated on the right side meant all I saw was water. One of the biggest fears when making these videos is accidentally deleting whatever I've done. Which explains why whatever I've got of the landing sequence was reduced to these few photographs. I really wanted to kick myself. I really enjoyed these 2 flights because the 717 is such a joy to fly on. The cabin crew was just icing on what was already a very decadent piece of moist red velvet cake. Airlines have nothing but fantastic things to say about this aircraft, and it's such a pity Boeing doesn't intend to continue production. So, the 717 sadly ends here. Will Qantas acquire second-hand ones? I surely hope so.
Okay, so just got off the flight from Canberra, And let me look at where Perth is departing. Perth is gate 12. Oh, I've come out from gate number 8. So Perth is departing from gate 12. Yep. So gate 8 is there. I'm departing from gate 12. So just have to wait for the boarding announcement. But the airport is so quiet though. This is so unreal. This is supposed to be Sydney, Australia's busiest airport, but it is so quiet. Look at how empty the airport terminal is. This little rotunda here, there's this circular portion of the terminal is normally the busiest because it also has gates for the wide-bodied jets like A330 doing transcontinental flights to Perth, but it's so quiet. Yeah, so this is Sydney Airport. It's really sad what COVID has done to the industry. Well, anyway, yeah, so the Perth portion of the flight will be a separate report, okay? So until that happens, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see that report. And hit the bell icon as well so you'll get notified when that report goes live, okay? In the meantime, wherever you guys are going, travel safe, wash your hands regularly, and yeah, I'll see you for the next report. See ya, bye.